Hey everybody, Jay Barino here, welcome back. This is IXION. It's a survival city builder in space. Let's go ahead and get back into Chapter 1. Very dicey here right at the start as we're balancing food and alloy. And we're trying to unfreeze enough people to get workers into the crew and have enough food and housing for them. So I had said that I want to open up a new sector this time. Let me just double check. What's everyone doing? All right, they're getting stuff from the debris fields. I think we'll go ahead and send to Saturn next, then Neptune, asteroid belts, Uranus, and then there's some other stuff further up there. So the probe launcher is handy, but we can turn it off. It's not like a super critical thing. It's more that, like, if we need the workers to run the steel mill, then we need the workers, right? So if I choose to go ahead and open this now, I could potentially run out of alloy. So what I'm going to do is wait for this to hit 100% efficiency and turn it back on. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and override the locks here. And let's go. So it costs 40 workers, which we have to spare right now. And just, I mean, we could turn this on now. Waiting for 100% isn't going to make a huge difference. So the nice thing is the workers and the food you do get in the next sector. What you don't get is you don't get the alloys or the electronics back. Okay, we don't want to go into extra hours, please. Let's turn this off. Turn this on. Transfer the electronics to the door. Turn this back off. Launch our probe. We want to launch as many probes as we can before I turn that probe launcher off, because it's going to be off not for a really long time, but like long enough. Yeah, let's reveal as much silicon as we can. The silicon is in very short supply in this system, so whatever you do in Sector 2, either food or industry, you need to make up for the difference over here. So I'm going to do food in Sector 2, which will allow me to move these insect farms and have some space to make a polymer factory and an electronics factory. Those factories we don't need to keep for very long, because those resources are limited here in Sector 1. So I can use them, use up all the resources, and then delete them until we're ready to open up Sector 6 over here, which will let us...
Probe has completed its scan.
Which will, we don't need to pick that up. We don't need to pick that up. I'm just going to turn you on to pick up steel when it's available, and then I guess go ahead and grab a couple rounds of people. I think there should be enough people thawed on here. How are we doing on food? We're still over 100%. Just got to wait for the alloy to make it over here. I just really need to turn this back on as soon as possible. And we only have 10 free workers, so we need to unthaw enough people. So the little worker drones are bringing the alloy over here, so they're not stopping and picking up what's available at the dock right now.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Oh boy. 2 events. All right. Administrator, a new sector has been successfully unlocked. This is a historic moment for DOLOS AEC and the Tiqqun mission. Sure. That got me 5%. Trust bonus, sure. Administrator, many crew are malnourished. According to Nyakan Barjaville predictive theory, productivity will soon drop by 23%. Longer-term starvation would not only increase this to 75%, but also accelerate the proliferation of deviant behavior on board the Tiqqun. So it's saying pledge to have 46 units stored in Sector 1 within 20 cycles. We can absolutely do that because it's already done. I don't know why that popped. Maybe it was just a brief mistake. So here's Sector 2. All the alloy that we spent and then the electronics you get back by collecting all this crap. It's just... it's time-consuming to do it. So, I do have like a map of all the structures and how I want to lay this stuff out for later. So there's 4, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a road. I think it's here is where I want it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's here is where I want my eventual structures to go. So I'm looking at the map, and it's... one building is 4, and then the next building above it is 6. Is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So that should That should be where we want the road, is then 1 tile above that. So now we can go ahead and put our stuff down up here, and then in the meantime, but I mean, that's late game stuff. For now, we're just going to make insect farms along the bottom. So what we need to do is, number 1, connect this to Sector 1. You only need 1 entrance. You don't need both. There's 4. You only need 1. Put this here. I'm going to put the mess hall here because we have some vertical room. And then both of our workshops. So it forces you to put this stuff down first. There we go. You can't build anything else until you put these 4 down, because you need a place to put the food, you need a place to serve the food, and then you need a place to store alloy, and then your workshop. So these buildings are actually free. So that's, I think, part of the alloy that you spend to move over here is for those structures. Anyway, how we looking? 14 free workers. What could we turn off to get us to 30? 30 is quite a tall ask. We could turn off a docking bay. In the meantime, we could turn you on. We could also turn off the cryonics center and this. That gets us 20 straight up. So let's get this polymer unloaded and then do exactly that. 95% efficiency is acceptable to me, but we are going to run out of alloy here.
The science ship team has completed a task.
So we need exactly 20 workers. Again, we don't have any accidents happening right now, so I can afford to... I think accidents might be the only thing that kick you... that can remove workers from the labor force, either temporarily or permanently. So since we haven't gone into extra hours yet, there should be no accidents, which means we can now run this. That will reinforce. That will bring in our alloy back to where it needs to be. This being at 95 efficiency is good. We can start picking up this crap, and let's go ahead and build roads to pick up all this junk. And we're going to need to house people as well in Sector 2. When you open a new sector, you get this plus 10 for opening new sector. It's temporary, so it's important that we put all these roads down. These are also temporary. It's just so that we can pick up all this stuff. But then once that's done, we're cooking with gas. And again, this is also how we get pretty much all of our resources back that we spent in order to open up the sector in the first place. Okay, that's fine. And then we can come up here, I think. We might have to do that. And keep in mind, we do have 40 workers in this sector, which is pretty generous. We can just connect these. Just connect those so that we have them. That should be most... We just have to wait for this guy to make it to all of them. It'll take some time.
A probe has completed.
And as long as the steel mill is running, we're good. As long as the steel mill is going, we're in great shape. We are going to need, I guess, an infirmary. This one's been off. Again, we don't have any accidents because we haven't triggered accidents from happening. It's going to happen, trust me. It's just, as long as I can avoid it, I will. Okay, we just got to start getting rid of, like these guys over here. Kind of an odd choice of pathway there, but that's fine. Get rid of these because we can put housing up here. Okay, so in terms of housing, those are 6... I mean, they're 3 deep for now. Eventually they'll be 6 deep, so we want to just plan ahead for that. So here, so that means the road would go here. That means the road would go here eventually. So yeah, we can just queue it up. Roads are free, they're quick to build, and we're not really building anything else, so we're fine. In terms of our workers, man, it's just like right on the cusp. It's really, really close. So food. Well, we're not waking anybody new up, right? And we have... Yeah, I think we're okay. We're like at a very delicate equilibrium. The only thing I pause is because what would cause a problem is if you keep waking people up and then you run out of food, but we're fine. The wrecks of the shuttles float everywhere. Most belong to the UN, though there are some bearing the acronym BMS. Despite the many hazards and potential psychological impacts from the presence of human corpses, the Sensitives team was able to locate some salvageable resources. Resume listening protocol. And we got some alloy for that, which is great. So we will leave the debris field. Let's check our fleet. Stop picking up cryopods, please. Just pick up the normal alloy. I guess you go ahead and pick up iron because we're actually consuming it now. And then you're going to collect 10, and we'll send you down to Saturn. We can send out probes because we didn't have to turn that structure off. Again, it's a very, very delicate balance here. The reason I hesitate is just because accidents, but we don't have any because we haven't triggered the first one yet. As soon as you trigger the first one, it becomes a big, big, big deal where you need extra workers to do anything. Okay, so we delete this. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and start getting some food over here. And we have workers. We have enough workers to make this work. This is fine. So we have enough iron coming in to keep us afloat. They're going through a waste cycle right now. And to keep our hull running, 92%, I'll turn it off for now. That'll let us stockpile some alloys as well. Now we can do resource transfer. Get me into the advanced settings, please. This is less confusing than it seems, but we want to make sure that we take resources and set them to certain minimums. So Sector 1, we want to say, Sector 1, always have a certain amount of alloy in stock before you consider sending any over to other sectors. So we want Sector 1 to always keep 20 in stock, and the alloy's being made there, so it'll stockpile as much as it can, but then it'll send out as much up to the minimum of 20, whereas Sector 2, we're also going to ask for, I don't know, 20 is fine. It'll just ship over more once it goes below 20. And I like to leave a good buffer because as you deconstruct things, you need a place to put it. So this is fine. In terms of food, we probably want both to have around 20. That should be fine for the population that we have. So food production, yeah, that 103. Don't got to worry about that. Let's pick up this.
A probe has completed its scan.
And then I can get, these are 8 workers apiece, and I'm going to need to make a warehouse for electronics. I also can be a little cheeky and do this, and then collect them, and then put it back to food. So they're in there, we just can't supply them anywhere right now. That's fine. So in order to turn anything back on, we're going to have to idle the steel mill. So once we're a little safer in terms of steel, we'll idle it so that we can wake up a few more people. But we can't really wake up a few more people until we feel a little better in terms of food. So again, it's a very delicate balance that we're messing with right now. And we need to house the people over here, which requires alloy. So we get rid of this. And just looking at my my chart here, we can get rid of that. We don't need that connection. And we're going to go ahead and start putting homes down. And we need 3 just to house the 40 workers that live over here, which is not a ton. But if we don't do that before the new sector opens up, then we are in trouble. Hull integrity is dipping, but we're collecting. Yeah, this is fine. This is going to work out just fine. Guys, normally I would be really concerned about accidents. That's the thing. It's just because normally we'd have workers over here out of commission. Only having one more worker for a sector it just doesn't work. It would be really, really bad news. All right, I think you've been at Saturn, or you've been sitting for a while. I've kind of neglected my system view because I've been sort of fascinated with the situation going on with my workers. Okay, go ahead and find Jupiter, please. But we bought ourselves a lot of time. Again, having the steel mill on with a good amount of iron available in the system, we're going to be fine for a long time. We're going to be absolutely fine for a long time. So as long as our food isn't going down, we have the opportunity to now build up our workforce over in Sector 2.
A new request awaits your attention.
Oh, great. Okay. Administrator, the integrity of the hull has fell below 25%. What will we be able to achieve if the Tiqqun breaks apart? I can do this. Yes, we can absolutely do this, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't need this on right now, which will allow us to turn you back on. Let's turn on auto repair and fulfill the request quickly. We don't need both on, but we do that just to get us back above the request fast enough, and then we just turn it back off and everything's fine. So, no more homelessness over here. We are going to need an infirmary. That is absolutely critical. We can get you... I mean, we can just put that down up here. You notice the infirmary is the same size as is 2 houses, so this is acceptable. Do we have people for it? I mean, we can just turn it off, because, again, no accidents means we don't need it. Okay, let's just go ahead and pick up this junk. I think we have enough space, or close to it. And then we can delete our extra roads.
The side ship has arrived at its destination.
So, let's build one more insect farm. But keep it turned off, because we don't want to go into we can't go in overworked over here either. That would be a big problem. Once it's done building, we turn off the workshop and then turn on the insect farm, and then we can start deconstructing some of these over here, because we don't need them anymore. And then we got to figure out how to turn our cryonic centers back on. That's critical. This dock is overloaded, but that's okay. Okay, that's done. Turn off that and turn off this structure. You get turned back on. I mean, our food is looking good right now, so let's turn the cryo center back on. No, let's get a little more alloy in the chamber. Just get that nice and stored up. This sector over here is going to be in a nice equilibrium. They're getting the food that they need until we can start sending them more workers. So right now we just have to, I think we just have to wait for more cryopods to be opened. Let's do this. A structure belonging to the Black Market Society has been discovered on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Although severely damaged, the site seems to be still active. Surface scans indicate the BMS station extends deep below the surface of Titan. Further data is not available due to the site firing upon Tiqqun's probe as it approached. The sensitive is maintaining orbit around Titan at a safe distance. Make contact. I'd love to. Probes. That's right. We can launch probes. That's a thing we can do. I think up here is Outer Hope. That's what we were looking for. Okay, we're making 15 iron a pop. Just turn these... I mean, again, I hate not picking things up, but I want to make sure the loading... I want to make sure the docks have a little bit of breathing room. And I can't afford to make more stockpiles because I don't have enough workers. So once this pops closer to 100... then we can turn this off, turn our cryo center back on, and then we just need to be unfreezing people like crazy because we have enough food now to support more people. We don't have housing for it, but that's fine. I mean, I do have housing for it, but I don't want to have to make too much more housing because it's expensive, and I don't need to be spending the alloy on it right now. So, worry about that later. Also, this stuff, this is temporary. I'll end up moving it someplace else later. I guess I never connected to this guy. We are going to need more housing up here eventually. The question is, where would I put it? I guess it couldn't hurt to just put more along the top here, because these normal houses are going to get deconstructed later anyway. Let's just give them a few more houses, just as temporary stuff for later, and it'll use up the alloy. So we've got too much in that sector. Okay, turn this off. Now's the time. We really gotta... We can get these cryopods off the docking bay.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Okay, here we go. Hull integrity. Again, we're really just looking for when it's very high efficiency to even bother turning back on. Later on in the game, we won't have to micromanage that, but right now we do. And I still can't believe we haven't accidentally gone into overwork. So normally, you can choose where to send people. Workers, non-workers. Right now, they've got to stay in Sector 1, just because I need enough workers that I can just leave the steel mill on and the cryonic center. Once we hit that point, then we start sending all of our new workers over here. Maybe even our non-workers, because we can build more housing over here. So let's tear down some of these superfluous roads. And I can build more houses. Not too many, but, you know, they're there for later. For later. A lot of this is future-proofing myself. I just want to make sure... yeah, see, now we're going into homeless. But the thing is, again, 25% homeless. We have a capacity of 240, which means we can afford to have 80 homeless people before we have a stability impact. So we also have to start considering stability because there are going to be some things here that are going to throw us negative pretty soon. After receiving no response to communication attempts, the team landed the sensitive and advanced towards the complex. Security protocols in place. The defense is activated briefly and fired on the team. Fortunately, there seems to have been little remaining power, and they quickly shut down. Entering the complex, the team was attacked by strange animals. Recorded footage from the mission shows an emaciated simian amalgam. The team repelled the attack with improvised weapons, and the creatures retreated. Unfortunately, no samples could be recovered. Venturing further into the complex, unsettling works of art and esoteric writing were discovered. Although the station is still pressurized, progress was made difficult due to the lack of any artificial gravity. In addition, a giant fungus has spread throughout the complex, releasing huge volumes of spores into the local atmosphere. Within what appears to be the main entrance hall, a bronze statue of Marduk Council member Giovanni Battista has been erected. Inconsistencies in the reports from different members of the exploration team suggest that recorded information may not be entirely accurate. Any conclusions drawn must be discounted. So Giovanni Battista was the guy who was eating when he was talking to us at the beginning. He seemed like he was all for anarchy in space. Okay. Send the team deeper in, please. And yeah, we'll go to Neptune after this. So, what are we doing? We're just waiting for people. We're waiting, and again, the homeless, I don't like it that there's going to be this amount of homeless in this sector, but it is a necessary evil. And then we just want to keep an eye out and say, like, if the hull's getting really low, then we just turn these off, we turn this back on, and we're okay. And eventually we'll get to that magic 207 worker count, and we could turn you back on, and then we don't have to worry about it. Again, if we can avoid accidents, then we can start sending workers over here. Now, I'm playing ultra safe, if that's not clear. You could overwork your workers and just blast through this. That's not my jam, so I'm not going to play that way. It's just, eventually, the system's going to run out of iron. And when that happens, you know, you're screwed. You have to make sure that there's enough iron to both mine and collect. So you could see it here. So we got, you know, 1,700 iron just sort of chilling out there right now that we're not bothering with. We don't need to. So I could continue to bring over people as long as I have some space in here. I don't want to clog up my loading docks. Food, 124. Again, eventually we need enough workers that we can turn this on and then start transferring people over here to build more insect farms. Then we build enough insect farms over here that we can start deconstructing the ones over here. That also frees up workers to move over to Sector 2.
Has completed its scan.
So I guess even with that in mind, we could deconstruct this because it's not even on. We don't need it. If I were to deconstruct one more, what would the impact be on food? We can always cancel deconstruction, and it's the same amount of money to deconstruct either way. That takes us down to 106.
A science ship team has completed a task.
And that gets us, that's the exact number of workers that we need to turn this on. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's scary. Let's check our science team. Venturing deeper within, the team of the Sensitive reached a construction site deserted and almost entirely frozen. Several possible storage areas have been identified, but are blocked by ice. The team could try to break through the ice or restart the station's heating systems in an attempt to thaw out the complex. In one of the storage areas, though, the transparency of the ice, a preserved corpse can be seen. Alright, again, just I don't want to say this every time, but I know what to pick. Okay, we're going to break through the ice. The team from the Sensitive will attempt to break through the ice and extract any retrievable resources. I think if you try this, there's some sort of catastrophic failure. So we'll do this. It's 4 turns. That's a lot. Let's shoot more probes out. Again, iron is really the only thing I'm worried about right now, and then pretty soon we'll be thinking about carbon for polymer and stuff. But we need to free up some space over here first. So unfortunately, though, we are going to be kind of in this holding pattern for a while. The key is just how many people can we thaw. And we're at 19 homeless. That's unfortunately okay for now.
A probe has completed its scan.
But we're going to need enough workers here to turn on other factories as well. So again, if we move these insect farms, we can take those workers and put them over here. We're not ready for that yet. So we can build these. We have the alloy for it because our steel mill is running, so we can have them there and ready to go for when we can start transferring workers over. Just make sure they're powered off. And let's also fix up our road system over here. Okay, this is fine, and I think we're doing something like this on this side. It's, again, I'll change some of this eventually, but right now I think this is acceptable. I'm just going to keep it simple for now. Okay. Don't need all this doubled. Okay, and then we can do something like this for now. And then eventually I'll move these temporary structures probably over here is where they're going to end up permanently. But for now, they're fine where they're at. Okay, we're getting some workers. We just got to keep homelessness below 80. Still waiting on science. I really need the ability to make some stability structures eventually.
A science shift team has completed.
Sensitive teams recovered a number of valuable resources. Via biometric data sampling, they identified the preserved course as Ulysses, administrator of Neptune's Hyperlux station, the Tiqqun. The body was found with a handwritten letter of farewell and an apology to the inhabitants of the Tiqqun station and appears to be unfinished. All right. So we're going to head to Neptune. It's good. You go to Saturn first, and you can get that guy's stuff. Are we bringing in any additional iron right now? It's just there's so much on the dock, there's no point. So you bring in... No, not silicon yet. You go ahead and bring in those, the chips. And we do have a good amount of electronics, it's just we don't have much of a use for them yet. All right. Now, eventually, I will be... Let's see. 1, 2...
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
And we have the alloy for this. It's good to have this now. Okay, science ship has made it to Neptune. Our communication systems have detected faint signals transmitting from what appears to be an old luxury station on Triton. Transmission analysis pulled a few data fragments encoded within the signals. They mentioned public disorder, food supply problems, and frequently referencing the name Ulysses. Tiqqun Station has been almost entirely dismantled. The few areas left suggest that those who lived here were swimming in opulence. The place is huge. We have found a sealed room protected by heavily armored blast doors. Dents in the door's metal suggest that others have unsuccessfully tried to gain entry. Guy Moreau recommends the use of explosives. Given the state of the station, I myself think it's a bad idea. Right. So first, let's collect what's usable. And then we'll figure out how to get in there. It's a good thing we found the guy who probably has the access codes. Probes! Alright, we're looking for silicon and we're looking for carbon. Because we're getting to the point where we're going to be making those factories. Wherever we can hit multiple things at once saves us a little bit of polymer, which is important at this point. Speaking of which, we're going to need to build some... We're going to need to build some new solar things here pretty soon. It's just we need more science in order to make them a little cheaper. They're not getting that much value from them being a little cheaper, but this, you know, the earlier the better. Power is going to be a problem as well, because of course it will be. Stop bringing in cryopods, please. Again, these are going to clog up our... These are going to just clog things up. So, continue. How are we doing on food? 97%. So, we need to start turning some of these on. And in order to do that, we need to move some workers. How many extra do we have right now? 218. Let's move 16 of them so that we can power on 2 bug farms. Sector 1 to Sector 2. That's going to take 1 full cycle, I think. That'll free up some of the housing so that we can
team has completed a task.
Keep working towards that 25% mark. Neptune. We recovered all we could from the station without risking a structural collapse. During the mission, we discovered messages left by someone who had been here before us. They expressed a distaste for the bourgeois lifestyle that the station was designed to support. Alright, a little polymer, never hurt anybody. Now we can not use explosives, we can use Ulysses' biometric data to open the room. Why that takes 4 days or 4 cycles? I don't know, man. It's a long time. Okay, we just keep
Population transfer complete.
Keep this up. So we have enough people over here now to turn on 2 of...
Whose trust in
Nope.
your leadership is falling.
Uh-oh. We're still in good work
Power
conditions, at
supply
least.
overloaded.
Turn that off. Or turn that... Yeah. Turn the probe launcher off.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Okay. The Tiqqun suffered an overload. During the conception of this mission, many plans
Power
for
restored.
prototype buildings were stored in my memory with knowledge gathered by our exploration teams. We can adapt them. Stafford's team lacked field data to make these plans viable, yet we can realize their full potential. Batteries will allow the Tiqqun to function on an auxiliary circuit when the energy supply system fails. We don't want to have to be relying on batteries in that case. It's just I have been waiting for science. I'm not really in a rush, besides the fact that we are currently negative in terms of food. So... we need to stop waking people up and figure out how we want to manage the shortage right now. So I could just go ahead and build another... solar thing. It's really not... I mean, saving 10% from that, we're saving like 4 or 5 polymer. It's not even worth it, so let's go ahead and do it. We're also going to need to turn this on. Do we have enough people? We do. Turn that on. That's going to start collecting the polymer and the electronics. We just need a little bit of breathing room for our power right now, and then it'll be fine. We can keep expanding our food supply here. And we're looking good. I mean, we can't repair the hull while this is being built, so we're just chilling. Polymer, though, is very short. That should allow us to turn on at least one of these. 2 of these, actually. Yeah. And that gets me to 117%. That's good. Again, a lot of it is just migrating these insect farms from here over to here, and then we'll make a whole bunch of them all along the walls and everything. So... again, this is just about some breathing room. How you guys doing down here? Almost done.
A science ship team has completed a task.
The room security systems were designed to read biometric data. The doors were set only to open for Ulysses. Inside the room were large quantities of resources necessary for the survival of the station's residents. This security protocol may have been put in place in anticipation of a staff revolt. We found the ability to upgrade our stockpiles, 3 electronics. That's a good haul. Leave the station, and then we are going to collect the science. Let's check our fleet. Someone is assigned to go and get this stuff. We have more than enough iron in storage and on the docks, so again, my cargo ships are idle right now. I don't love that. We're back to repairing the hull. We could turn you off. And how we looking? So we have a little over 25 extra workers. We need 15 to turn you back on, so let's do that. Again, it's just a delicate balance between waking people up and turning on more food supplies. It's like a certain percentage of who you wake up ends up needing to help with food. So let's send 10 more people over. Only workers. We should have housing for them for now. Stability. Now we can make the alternative life center, and I think that's everything in Tier 1.
Available for research.
Absolutely critical. We need assistant promotion so that we can generate our own science. We absolutely need that, and then I'm going to go ahead and queue up the cheaper solar panels. After that, the world is our oyster. There's a lot that we need. There's a lot that we need. So we can talk more about a lot of this stuff, but for right now, those are the two we need. In fact, maybe other than solar panels, we can make it so our insect farms produce more food. 10% increase to food. Let's wait for assistant lab promotion to finish, and then we'll kind of figure out where we're at. Again, we're kind of like right on the cusp with this stuff.
Population transfer complete.
Okay, go ahead and pick up some more iron. And we have enough now we could turn on one. We can't turn on the second one. That's okay, I should have sent one extra guy. It's fine, it's enough food to wake up a good chunk of these folks. And we're actually full on iron, so this is good. We could afford to turn this off if we need to in terms of power, but I think we're fine in terms of power. It's maybe the homelessness situation that is the problem. I need enough people that I could turn the probe launcher and maybe even the second EVA airlock back on so we could get out of this half equilibrium and actually get repaired up. Okay, let's send you up to the asteroid belt. We really need more science. That's critical. The probe launcher is disabled right now. See, they've mined all the carbon and the silicon, so just do this. It's been a very, very delicate balance, this mission. Again, I'm playing probably safer than I need to. Could I afford to even dispose of one of these? Because I'm going to need to have to put in some... I'm going to need to have to put in a stability structure here or there pretty soon. Otherwise, we're going to hit stability problems. Let's dismantle that. That'll free up some workers at least. So we have memorials. And we've got alternative life center. Those are our options right now. And we're just going to keep an eye on that. If it gets close to like 70-ish, then we start sending people over here. But I need enough workers in this sector that we can actually turn this stuff back on. So probe launcher, welcome back to the squad. And this is 9 people. We can afford that too. We don't need to turn that one back on though. So I will start sending workers over to sector 2. Truth be told, this doesn't even need to be on right now. Doesn't hurt to turn it off. I think I just need to be more focused on science.
A science ship has arrived at...
All right, we've detected a signal broadcasting a DOLOS on a DOLOS frequency. It originates from a mineral extraction station named the Stanford Facility. We theorize that the Stanford Facility will contain many materials used to the Tiqqun and its crew. However, in order to recover them, we will need to dismantle elements of the structure to gain entrance. A control center has been identified, but it is sealed off by a shutter with a UN emblem stenciled over it. A message has been written beneath the emblem in an unknown language. We have no idea what it says, but it's accompanied by a helical-shaped symbol. All right, we're going to dismantle part of the facility because I think the other one results in some sort of loss. So we'll do that. This down here is good. We can have somebody go and get the polymer at least. You go get the polymer. I'm trying to spread the resources across the 2 docks. Right, you're on dock 1, these guys are on dock 2. So that's fine. We can pick up more of the cryopods later. Again, I don't want to busy up my my docking base too much. Okay, quite a large number of chips. That's really good. And then pretty soon here, I would like to consider... What I'm going to do is move my... I have to review my layout here. I'm going to move my mess hall over here in anticipation of putting a polymer factory over there. So, I mean, we've got the alloy to do it, and then we're going to dispose of this one anyway, so.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Great work, buddies. Matching the character of Marduk Council member Philip Stanford, meticulously organized resource packets were found in the facility's storage area. They've been prepared for extraction. All right, more peoples, a little bit of food. That's fine. Let's just wait for the science. Again, critical that we get this science. And then send you over to Uranus. We can continue to probe, though we are short on... Yeah, we really got to think about our polymer situation right now. So let's look for... We're looking for silicon and we're looking for carbon. Either of those. Because I want to make sure they're all mined and ready to go. The rest is just iron. It's ice. It's hydrogen. But as long as we have all the carbon and all the silicon mined and ready to be picked up, that is really all I care about right now. So... looks good. So with that in mind, let's just go ahead and just start scanning around. And how are you doing over here? So we have enough workers. We turn you on. I've been sending folks to Sector 2. That's right. So we have enough for not another one, but I can start building it. Can I? We're building... Oh, no, we're getting the money back for that. It's just we got to remember to turn this back on when it's time. This is good. We're building a nice buffer of workers. Which is critical, because as soon as we have our first accident... Okay, assistant promotion is done. We're getting this. And then as the follow-up, we want to make it so our insect farms can provide a little bit more food. It's like 10% more. And then going optimized quarter after that. Probably the best option. Probably the best option. We also need some of these science crew upgrades. Okay, let's go. You go ahead and also pick up the food. The Quicksilver's kind of our rant. Like, we'll probably put them on cryopods, whereas these two just bring in one set of iron to each dock. All right, it's getting built. One thing you have to remember when you're building stuff is it uses all the construction robots that otherwise would be taking the iron from the steel mill back to the stockpile. Because the workers are stockpile-based. Okay, so now we deconstruct this.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Cool. Our instruments have recorded abnormal thermal activity on Uranus. As this distance, we're unable to deduce its nature or source. Controller, reading this, we found a tree. It seems impossible in such an environment. I've never seen anything like it. It's breathtaking. The tree sheds its leaves quite rapidly, and they reform almost instantly, crystallizing from the branches. The root structure appears to sink deep into the planet. I hope you're receiving our images, as this feels like a fever dream. We will carry out an ecological analysis. Naomi Protocol is just like, cut it down. Carry out the thingamabob. That's fine. Probe. Hang on, I saw a decent chunk out here. Might as well go for the highest value hits, though I think we've already identified most of them. Or all of them. I just do this until I see the iron really pop up. But it's possible that the iron is just trash. But that's fine. We're going to have enough polymer from what we start collecting here soon. Okay. Now, we do need polymer refinery. We're going to put that there. That requires a chip and 80 alloy. How are we doing on food? We're over 100%. I think we can turn at least one of these on as well. And basically, as soon as... What I'm going for here is if we can get this accelerated growth upgrade, then we could probably just demolish some of these without having to rebuild them over here as well. Like, that's going to be, like, really, really, really useful. So this is looking for more than we actually can provide right now. We could turn this on.
A probe has completed its scan.
Then turn it back off. You can see I really only turn that on for when we really need it. Now we turn this on. Actually, I do want this on, and I'm going to set it to be carbon instead. And I'm going to go ahead and start having my folks bring in carbon and silicon. So we can store the carbon, and then it can start being processed into polymer, which will fill up this stockpile. So we can build some more solar things. Okay. After analysis of various samples, the tree appears to be almost entirely edible. Its roots, leaves, and fruit can all be eaten. RNA sampling suggests that the tree is the result of extensive bioengineering experimentation. It is unknown how it was germinated here or who is responsible for this feat. All right, let's harvest the edible elements of the tree. More food never hurt anybody. How are our docks looking? They're fine. Food is looking good. Keep in mind the food has to transfer between sectors, which requires your food things to be able to send trucks back and forth. So again, the truck economy it can be very important. Okay, we're sending to Sector 2, right? Yeah. No homelessness in Sector 2 yet. And we actually have quite a lot of space in Sector 2. This is good. Sector 1 has the homeless issue, but we're actually going to be demolishing even more of these homes soon enough, because I want to be able to put a memorial down up here.
A science ship team has completed a task.
All right. 25 food. Now we can cut it down. We did all the rest of that stuff before. Probes. Again, ice and hydrogen are just not needed at this point in the game, but ice will be needed next chapter. And hydrogen is like end of the game type stuff, so I wouldn't worry about it. We do have enough to turn this back on if we need to, which we don't. The nice thing is that it's kind of sitting in this sort of middling efficiency. We could just turn it off completely, and that should allow us to start stockpiling a little bit more, because the single steel mill can keep up with the production and build some stuff.
Probe has completed its scan.
Like, it's sort of just enough. I'm going to go ahead and demolish this. We are going to need to start thinking about batteries here soon. We're going to need some batteries for the end of this cycle. And we're going to have polymer coming out of our ears here pretty soon, so I don't really feel that bad just shooting out probes all over the place. I mean, unless there's a really good hit out here for iron, like it looked like there was maybe one decent iron, and then we're done with I think we're done with probes. All these, like, tiny iron hits are just not that valuable. And I saw one that looked okay. I was just trying to find it again. Oh. Hang on. I'm looking for you. It's like I'm going a little too fast. Alright, honestly, there's enough iron to sustain us, I think, for the rest of this chapter. Like, more than enough. Right, we want to get rid of all these down here because we will be able to turn this on. Build an electronics factory down here. Again, once we process all the available carbon and silicon, we can just we just demolish them. We don't need them anymore. So the min-maxing, I feel like, for this chapter is doing exactly that. It's just like harvesting through the rare materials and staying alive for long enough to do that. And then trying to go into the start of the next chapter with that buffer. Okay, you're going to go ahead and start bringing in people again. So we got a lot of people to unthaw. Just the fact that we just keep
A science ship team has completed a
unthawing people, I have to be very cognizant of those food levels. When the tree fell, a plaque was revealed that had been buried beneath its roots. The tree was a collaboration between Henry Bargeville and Rabia Nayakhan when they joined the Ashtangites. They offered their creation to humanity, hoping that it would erase some of the debt created by the atrocities of DOLOS. The Sensitives team felled the tree and had prepared the resulting resources for extraction. It's unclear if the Ashtangites are aliens. This might be clearly revealed somewhere in some flavor text that I haven't been reading, but like they're called. It's like it doesn't sound like a company, right? It sounds like a people. I'm not sure. Anyway, we got some carbon here, so that's good. And then food. Some extra food. Never hurt nobody. Okay, we'll be able to fit this in here. Come on, go away. There we go. So we do this, but we pause it, or at least we turn it off. I think with this running, we should be able to just... We should be able to bring this in. I think as long as... Yeah, we're still not we're not repairing the hull right now. We don't have to unless we get much lower. I'm going to save. I have to save frequently just in case I forget to turn the hull auto repair on. That's usually what results in me losing, is because I just forget to turn it back on, even though I'm not constrained on resources at all. Okay, you should be done collecting. So now we head up to Outer Hope. Once this is done, I mean, it's a lot of alloy, to be clear. It's a lot of alloy, and it's a lot of workers. So, again, we just need it running for long enough that we can process some silicon. Of which we will need storage for. And see, it has 30 steel that it wants to put in the stockpile, but it can't because the stockpile drones are trying to build the electronics factory. So, like, we could pause it and try and let it empty these out a little bit. And there's a lot of little optimizations you could do with where you place certain things. Okay, go ahead and resume. I don't have enough workers to turn this on because this is 30 workers. How are we doing on workers over here? We've just been dumping people over here. Until we go home, unless we have a food or homeless issue, we're just going to keep it up. I can afford to make another one, and I have enough in here. It's not that I'm not really saying like, oh, I don't have enough in this stockpile. It's like, do I have enough in here before I have to start borrowing from Sector 1, which is quite tight right now. Sector 1 is... It's feeling the hurt. So it just finished. We're going to turn this back on because we were about to lose. And we just got a dump of steel from the steel mill, so now we can run this, and we're gonna come back from it pretty quick. So it's just micromanaging that hull repair, man. It's spicy. All right, we're getting into homeless territory here. Getting a second cryo thing could be okay. It's just I like the pace here. How are we doing on food? 111. We can start thinking about getting rid of these. Made it to Outer Hope. A DOLOS emergency signal is broadcasting from these coordinates. It originates from the research station Outer Hope. Outer Hope is surrounded by wreckage and debris from a past battle. Broken equipment and frozen bodies float around the station. The emergency signal is transmitting from inside. Search the battlefield. Yes, yes, yes. And as you can see, now our polymer count is starting to go back up because we're processing carbon. It is all 1-to-1. One carbon makes one, you know, it's just depending on how much there is available. Okay, let's go ahead and have one of you... Well, they're almost done with the carbon. They'll start picking up the silicon here soon. And our docking bays are a little clogged anyway. This is a bit of a spicy time to have a waste cycle. All right, let's go. There you go. Good work. Again, I'm just keeping an eye on that food. We're still, yeah, we're dumping people over here. I understand there's a homeless issue. I don't want to overbuild homes because they're going to get replaced very soon with those optimized quarters that I'm researching. So it would be a mistake, I think, to build too many homes. Okay, so I'm mostly waiting... Oh, the solar panels, that's done, actually. So I could... How are we doing on workers over here? Not great. Let's send people back to this side. I need enough workers to turn this EVA airlock back on, because I would very much like to get that other solar panel built, but I can't afford to have them off for too long while it's being built. So we're just going to wait. Mining ships come in and getting repaired every so often. All the ships have to come in and be repaired every so often.
A science shift
How you
team
looking?
has
209.
completed a
Perfect.
task.
Turn this on. No!
The crew's trust in your leadership is falling.
As long as it didn't trigger an accident. It didn't. Okay, we're fine.
Power
Everything's
supply
fine.
overloaded.
So here's the
Power
thing.
restored.
We might be able to get away with this. Let's just build this. Check Outer Hope. The battle seems to have been made up of multiple engagements, with debris from the conflicts mostly consisting of wrecked shuttles. Some of these destroyed ships bear the insignia of the UN, though the majority carry DOLOS emblems. Sophisticated weapon systems were also identified among the wreckage, bearing the acronym BMS. The Sensitives team was able to salvage some resources from the debris. BMS is the Black Market Society, if you recall. We found them on Saturn. So they attacked DOLOS. It seems like they also may have attacked the UN. The UN attacked DOLOS. Everybody hates DOLOS because we presumably caused the lunicalism. All right, let's wait a moment and get some of this science. I understand. Again, we don't need hospitals on unless there are accidents. There won't be accidents yet. So everything's good. Everything's looking good. Food's looking good. Again, I've really optimized this so far. Okay, search Outer Hope. Is that enough science to finish this? Yes. Now, I would recommend a few different things here, like getting the polymer and the electronics facility upgrades would be really good, but we can't until we finish everything on the outskirts. So, I don't love this, but I'm going to get optimized quarter. It's just so that I don't have to make too many more of the normal crew quarters. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. We're going to get this. Once that's done, then we can start considering, we want to start getting everything on this outskirt. Waste treatment is huge, hugely useful. Fusion station is we can turn ice into water, so we can make a different type of food. The DLS Center and the Legislative Strengthening Center are both stability requirements, and the DLS Center is possibly the most important non-resource related building in the game. So these are just things that we absolutely have to get. So we're probably going to go optimize quarter and then DLS Center. I think that's the order we're going to have to do it in. Steel Mill does have an upgrade available, but it's just to reduce power cost, which is not that important to me. So the real question is, can this finish before we die? It's looking like it's going to be close, but it'll do it. You can also pause it if you need. Okay, we have a little breathing room. Looking good. We have 17 free workers. We might not even have to turn this off. Again, our homeless situation is not looking too hot right now. How many free do we have over here? Enough to make more insect farms. We can make 2 more insect farms. Man, if we had an accident at this point, we would be totally screwed, to be super clear. We would be completely screwed, just because generally you want to keep about 15 to 20 extra workers per sector to account for accidents. Especially like a steel mill where there's 30 workers. Accidents take out of commission, I think, proportional to the number of workers in the structures. So that's just something to think about. Okay, I'm going to stop here for today. This is a bit longer, but when we come back, I likely will finish Chapter 1, because there's really no more research to get. It's just, we now create our own science out of nothing. So if we can sort of sustain ourselves on the available iron in the system, of which there's a lot, and we just sort of sit on that equilibrium of food and iron, then I can just sit there and accrue science and get upgrades done early before going into Chapter 2. That's the kind of stuff I'll do off camera, but I definitely want to thaw everybody out, and yeah, we'll do that next time. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.